So, I'm going to talk to you about a little bit to get out of your comfort zone, because I truly believe that it will help you a lot in your work life, in your private life, and anything you can imagine. But first of all, I want to talk a little bit about how I did it and how I achieved to get that far. And for example, I start, first of all, with my work. I work at Freeletics. For everybody who doesn't know what Freeletics is, it's a high-intensity training app. So you have your personal trainer in your pocket. You'd work out just with your body weight only, anywhere, anytime. So we cut off a lot of excuses there. No time, no gym, no place to work out. You work out with your body weight wherever you want, and that is something really important for me to start that, because trying to work out or being something like that, or being a fit girl, was nothing I was in the beginning, because when I started Freeletics, I wasn't fit at all. I wasn't able to do any pull-ups or push-ups or what I'm able to do now, but the beginning was really tough for me, but I liked it, and I liked to work out with my body weight only, and that's what I did 2012. But coming back to Freeletics, my work there, as I'm a training specialist, I'm the first employee there, so we founded in 2012, and the guys and me built up the brand a little bit more. The guys had the idea, and I was happy to be the first girl and first employee there. We are now 130 employees, and we have over 30 million users using this nice app. Yes, woo! One thing what we also do have is that we did that, the 30 million users and the 130 employees, bootstrapped only. We have investors since August, but till that, we were bootstrapped only. That was really a fun time. And Freeletics, when I started in the marketing department, it was really doing everything what you think about, what you could imagine. It was just not, okay, you're in that position or you're doing that. It was also doing everything what you want to do or you think you could do. And being in the marketing department, being in front of the camera and behind the camera, I did so many different things. So I was training with people from the TV. When they talked about how to develop and how to motivate people, they asked me how I did that and how I changed, because during that time when I started working out, I got so much further during those years, and I haven't stopped working out since. And being able to motivate others just by doing that helped me a lot to grow. And even that, I'm now a training specialist with Freeletics, so I'm trying to get the feeling of the Freeletics workouts inside the app. I had so many touch points with so many different departments in our company that I'm really happy that I came that far. But next to that, I developed a new hobby, let's say, like it's a hobby. I started to do OCR races. And an OCR race, to tell you a little bit more about that, is, for example, a 5K race, a course where you have obstacles on the race. Obstacles like climbing on a rope, carrying a bucket full of stones, or carrying a sandbag, carrying in logs, going through water. It's also different, depends on the race. You may have heard about Spartan races, Tough Mudder, Xletics, or something like that. And that's what I started, and I wanted to do something different because I did Freeletics for a few years. I got better and fitter and stronger. And then a few guys told me, you should try that. And so I thought, why not? And I started my first elite OCR race, 2016 in Munich. It was a 5K race, and I won this race. And I was really happy. I thought it was easy for me. It was a fun race, and it was just 5K. Thinking about it back then, it was tough. And the first thing what I did afterwards was, okay, I want to try. I did the 5K. Now I'm going to double this. My comfort zone was checked. 5K was easy. I'm going to double this. So I did a 13K race. In the 13K race, I finished third. And even though I'm not a runner, I'm a small or tiny girl, and the girls who are better in running are tall and have long legs, and I raced this race and I got third, and I was really a little bit shocked about that, because I didn't think that I'm going to end up in the podium again. After I finished this one, I thought, okay, now let's try to double this again. and I did a 25K race. Never done 25K in my life before, and even with obstacles, it sounds a little bit weird, but I did that too, with elevation gain, and I got second. That was in Munich, that was the 5K, that was the second K, that was 13K, that was 25K, I got second. And 3 weeks later, there was a race in San Francisco, and it's an ultra race, called an ultra race, and it was 50K. And I've never done 50K before, and I thought, okay, this is going to be different. This is going to be hard, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be a different country. I have never been to the US before, but I'm going to try this because I've done the other races, and I finished them, and it was fine, even though I never thought I'm going to finish them, but I was happy, and that made me comfortable to step on the start line for 50K. After 8 hours and 10 minutes, I stepped over the finish line. It took me 8 hours and 10 minutes for the whole ultra, and then I finished it, and it was actually a whole work day. I was outside doing obstacles, running, walking, and crawling through obstacles, up and down hills, and I got to the finish line, and I got third. Even that was in the US. It started to snow in the last hour. That was an amazing day for me. I was really happy. I never thought I was going to finish this. And for me, stepping out of those different comfort zones every time made me realize that I'm capable of so much more. I never thought I would. So, how should I double this? And I came across a new format, and that was called, this format is called a survival run. A survival run is a format of a 24-hour race. And you heard right, it's a 24-hour race. You run 24 hours, no sleeping, just running and doing obstacles, or challenges, they call it. The best thing about those races is that they are different, the obstacles are different than you're used to. So you're not climbing up some ropes, you're not gonna carry, I don't know, a sandbag they filled, because the race is in Nicaragua. It's in the jungle, and it's on a small island called Ometepe. And you're gonna do challenges the people on the island are doing every day. So, for example, we had to carry a bucket full of water, 3K uphill from a well to the village, because that is what the people on the island do every day. We had to chop wood, we had to build a fence with the wood, because that's what the people do every day on the island as well. We had to climb up coconut trees, we had to hit a target with a slingshot, because people doing that every day, and we are complaining because the subway is late 1 minute. One thing what I thought when I stepped on that start line, with the 24 hours, I thought like, okay, you're gonna race this race, it's gonna take you a few hours, and then you're gonna hit a wall eventually, because you're 24 hours racing. It's the same thing you thinking, it's like, how the hell am I going to survive this? And the good thing about this race was, I did really different kinds of exercises and challenges. And after 20, I have to tell you a bit about the race as well. There are, for the survival run, you collect 4 types of medals during the race. And on every medal, there's one word. I did not fail. And then the first medal you get is the fail medal. Then you get I, then you get did, and only if you step over the finish line, you get not. 60 people are racing and only 1% will finish. So a lot of people have the fail medal, have the I fail medal, have the I did fail medal, but only a few have the I did not fail medals completed. And so I raced this race. I got so many different ideas, like what should I do when this or that happened. But when I stepped on the finish line and I raced this one, I really focused on the moment. And I thought, okay, I have no idea what challenge will come, because in the survival run, you never know the challenge beforehand. You just know you have a gear list. You have to bring your stuff with you. For example, you have to bring your machete. Of course, I have my machete with me all the time, but I had to buy one. You have to bring a lot of different things. You have to bring food for 24 hours as well. So you have to get your food. And make sure you have everything with you, what you think you need in 24 hours. At 20 hours, when I was 20 hours in the race, I had to hit the target with the slingshot, and I missed it. And so I got cut off out of the race. I was the last woman in the race, and only 2 others were in the race, and they finished and I didn't. You have to think about the races. What you also know about the races, there's going to be 2 volcanoes. You always have to climb up both volcanoes. And I was in the bottom of the volcano, and I didn't hit the target, and I got cut off. That was really a bad moment in that time, because it was the first time I failed a race. And I also thought, why didn't I practice the slingshot more? Because I figured out there must be something different, and I knew that they did it before in the year before, and I never tried it, and I never tried it that much because I didn't practice it, because I thought I'm going to hit the wall in a different way, but not with a stupid slingshot. After that, I also realized or thought about how did I come this far? And there's so many things I did with the races, so always stepping out of the comfort zone with the races, with doubling it, and always checking if there's something else I can do. That I also realized I did it also in my private life. And next to the races, I always challenged myself with different challenges during the years. So, for example, I wasn't good at focusing on one target, on one thing in work, for example. And I wanted to get better at this, so I told myself, you're going to meditate for 365 days a year and get better at this, and I did. I was not good with material stuff, so I was buying a lot of clothes here and there, and for women, this might sound like a shock, but I didn't buy any clothes for 365 days as well, to get that off my mind. And the best reaction of that was from the man, when I always tell, like, yeah, I'm not going to buy clothes for 365 days, and they would say, like, that's a challenge? Why? So I always tried to put myself into uncomfortable positions and trying to be comfortable with that. As well, I did 1 year just showering cold. That's my favorite, and I still do that. We can talk about that for a longer time, but this is something I really enjoyed. I didn't drink alcohol for 1 year. Because, for example, that meant a lot for me, because in my family, nobody could ever say that. And I want to be a role model in that thing, just in that idea that I can tell you I didn't drink for 1 year. And it changed so many things. And it doesn't even make you unhappy just because you're not drinking. But I want to be a role model there, and I did that. All those challenges and all the things I tried to do made me realize that it's so important to tell people that they should start somewhere. And I'm not telling you that you're going to do a 24-hour race tomorrow, because why not? I'm going to want you to think about how, or is there something you can start with? And for me, it was always having people around me who want to do or want to achieve the same thing I do. For example, the training. And when I started with Freeletics, I surrounded myself with people who want to train as well. And we started 3 to 4 times training and working out. And that was a habit, and that became something of a habit in my life. And the other challenges I had, I always tried to talk to people and tell them, like, I'm going to do this. You want to help me? You want to come with me? Or like walking the same way? Are you in? And you can do that in so many ways. You have so many apps out there to start and do a habit, and start in small ways to get better, and trying to you put yourself in an uncomfortable position and being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That I also want to see that you don't need to make huge steps in everyday life. You just start small and maybe get better every day. And that's something what I want to achieve in that part. For me, the survival race is still something I really enjoy, and I know after the failure I had, and after the feelings they were coming, and I needed to overcome and be happy still, or thinking about that I need to run the race again in 2018, because this survival race was 2017. I prepared, and I focused on what I wanted to do, and I stepped on the start line this year, 2018 in March, for the survival run Nicaragua again. And it was the best race I've ever done. Because as well, the feeling was different. I knew what was ahead of me. I didn't know the challenges. And when I was 10 hours in the race, I was in 10th place. I had to climb up a coconut tree, and it took me over 20 minutes to get up the coconut tree. Even though I knew that I was able to do that and I could do it, I didn't freak out. I chilled, I sat down, focused, went up a second time, failed again, 3 and 4, and at the 5th time, I nailed it. 14 hours in the race, I caught up to the front and was in 4th place. And I kept pushing myself, and we had so many different challenges during the race. I was really, really happy that I was still doing this. 22 hours in the race, I was at the same spot when I got kicked out last year. And the spot was at the bottom of the second volcano. I went up, and at that part, in the 22 hours, I was in 1st place overall. I led everybody behind me, and I was racing. And you have to know that even though just 1% of the people finishing the race, there was only one woman before me who finished the race. And when I was in 1st place in 22 hours, and I went up the volcano, I always thought this is a little bit more unreal than real, but I was really believing that this is going to end up really great. I went down the volcano, and on the downhill, a local guy who always also raced the race overtook me. And I was still happy, because I didn't thought that I'm going to win this, but I thought I just want to finish this race. And as I told you before, you never know the challenges ahead, so we came down the volcano, and we came to the beach. And I know that the finish line was 1K from where we were standing, but everybody was looking at the water, and I saw the local guy already swimming to the island. It was 500 meters away, so I knew that's going to be the last challenge. So I went to the water, I took off my bag, and I swam. I swam to the island, swam back, and I caught up to him, and we got out of the water at the same time. And one thing he did, what I didn't, was he took off his shoes before going into the water. And he had to take them on again, had to put them on again. And so I got out of the water, I put on my bag, and then I went and ran to the finish line. I had my 3 medals. I knew I'm going to get my 4th medal when I'm going to get over the finish line. And that is me running.
The medal was prized by all survival runners.
And I had to dig the medal out of the sand.
Bravo, Vanessa!
Come on, Vanessa. We're almost there.
Pull that thing out and show it to me, Vanessa. Show it to us, Vanessa!
It was almost 1 meter.
One of our only female finishers, but
Overall winner.
So I'm the first woman who ever won the survival run, and I'm gonna do another races in the next years, and I'm never gonna stop racing. But this made me realize that there's nothing you can't achieve if you're gonna set your mind to it. And stepping out of the comfort zone is really important in everyday life, and not only in sport. And I hope that you think about something you can achieve, even with small steps. And if you want to talk about another races or something different, we can do that afterwards, of course. I'm going to be here. And I hope you enjoyed my little motivation talk. Thank you.
Vanessa, inspired by your achievements and to honor them and to beat my inner Schweinehund, I'm trying to coming out of my comfort zone by a direct jump on the stage now. No, of course I won't do that. But I'm not using the stairs. Vanessa Gebhardt, another applause. Really cool. So, one last question, or I think if you have questions, we have time afterwards, or you have time to ask them to Vanessa. But I have one question. We had these 3 frustrated guys, this Burda Hans and the RTL Jan and the Axel Springer Stefan, and they were frustrated about this Datenschutzgrundverordnung and all the challenges dealing with these problems. How would you motivate them, or what can you advise them to motivate themselves?
It's more or less not the motivation. It's just the hardest part is really to motivate yourself. But if you have somebody who is on the same page as you are, and you have somebody you can talk to, and you are down in a hole and you don't know how to get out, ask people, and that they help you to get out of it. It's easier, but at one point, remind yourself how far you've come in that moment. Because where you are right now, you would never thought that you're going to be there in 1 year, like last year or something. So being in the moment and thinking that you came this far and you're going to get a solution if you're just going to dig deeper, that's something that helps a lot. So
no need for being frustrated. With this big exclamation mark, the official part has almost ended. Another big applause, Vanessa. Thank you very much.